Hi, I'm Rosaina Haji. I grew up eating traditionally prepared meals by my grandmother and family. In my travels to many destinations, I enjoyed various cuisines with exotic flavors, which has definitely left a mark in my cooking. My recipes are a concoction of childhood memories and my travels around the world, and mainly to give prominence to those really tasty dishes that are less talked about. This is the minority taste. I don't know what it is, but you guys want me to make seafood and fish. Maybe because I'm an island girl, or maybe because I'm always promoting seafood and fish. You guys have been DMing me, messaging me, and I've even got emails asking me to make the same fish head curry that we had in Galle. If you haven't watched that episode yet, it's an episode where Trevor James, the food ranger, and I go to a really interior Sri Lankan house where they give us this beautiful fish head curry. It's really good. Like, I'm salivating just by thinking of it. It was that good. Now, if you're not into fish head, don't worry, you can also make this curry with fish cubes. So as long as the meat is white meat fish, you're good to go with this curry. So let's get into it. Oh, and if you haven't watched that episode as yet, I'm going to link that episode in the description box below. Make sure to check it out. There are so many factors for that fish head curry that is not available in Abu Dhabi, and I'm going to talk about it in my kitchen later on. But first, let's get a good fish head for the fish head curry. Now, what you're looking for is, you should be looking for white meat, because white meat fish is the best for fish head curry. So I'm going to be getting a kingfish today to make the fish head curry for you guys, Sri Lankan style.
Good. Okay, finish.
There are few things that fish head curry that we had in that beautiful village home is gonna be so different to what I'm making. Number one, they cook it in a really authentic Sri Lankan hearth, so all that heat from the hearth makes a big difference than a gas stove. Number two, they grind everything in an authentic grinder, stone grinder, so all the oils of all the spices comes out really well than modern blenders. And they use cinnamon wood, and they didn't cover the fish pot, so all that cinnamon wood and the smoke from the cinnamon wood gets into the fish, and it's just so good. However, I am going to replicate that recipe as much as I can, and I'm going to show you guys how to make a really easy fish head curry, but my way, with my little twist. So let's get into making a beautiful Sri Lankan fish head curry. I'm going to wash off all that little residue muck. That's the first thing. And then we're going to add it into a big pot. Once you take all that muck off, it's time to put it back into the biggest pot you can find. So what you do is, you put the face first, and then now it's time to put the spices. So I'm going to be adding a few pieces of fish as well for people who don't eat fish head. So into this, 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder. This can be Sri Lankan chili powder or Indian chili powder, and 1.5 tablespoon of unroasted curry powder. Now this can be Indian curry powder or Sri Lankan curry, and 1 teaspoon of cumin powder. Now this is my little twist. In the original recipe that you see back in Galle, Sri Lanka, they have used a lot of curry leaves and pandan leaves, but I'm kind of feeling a little bit of East Asian vibes today, so it's going to be a Sri Lankan curry with East Asian kind of twist. So this is my little twist, that is using lemongrass instead. Now of course you can use pandan and curry leaves if you like. One big Bombay onion chopped and garlic mashed up along with it. One whole pod of garlic. Lots and lots of Ceylon cinnamon. I'm going to be using the bark of the tree. And 2 big cinnamon sticks from the center of the tree as well. Beautiful Ceylon cinnamon. Salt. Now the original recipe had brindleberry, also known as goraka in Sri Lankan. They soaked it in hot water and then they added it into the curry. Now I have a little bit of brindleberry here, but this is going to be my main sour agent, and that is a dried salted mango. Now you can get this in Indian stores and Sri Lankan stores. It gives a beautiful tangy flavor, so that's what I'm going to use. What I've done here is I've soaked it in a little bit of hot water, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to put it with the seed. Add a little turmeric, just 1 teaspoon of it. I'm gonna add water gradually because we don't want it to be covered in water, but just enough. Don't forget we have to also add milk, so I have used about 2.5 cups of water here. Now I'm going to just let it cook and keep it covered. As you can see, all that heat is coming in and cooking the fish. Now do not overcook the fish. That's when it all breaks off and it turns into kind of mush. What you have to do is just keep looking at it and it changes color really quickly. Don't have a grinder, I mean the authentic grinder, but I have a modern grinder. So into that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of mustard seeds and just a drop of water just to bind it together. So we're going to grind it into a really nice paste. This is 1.5 cups of thick coconut milk. Now this is fresh milk. I highly suggest you use fresh milk for this recipe. So now I'm going to add this mustard paste and then you mix it really well in. So you're literally going to see the fish being cooked in just 10 minutes. If you get closer, you will see all the fatty oils coming from the fish head. That fish head fatty oil has got into the curry, and that's when you know it's all done. So at this point, there's one last magic touch, and that is adding the mustard milk. Add all that milk and mustard. So after you add coconut milk, you have to keep stirring it or mixing it the way you can. This is to avoid letting the curry split, because coconut milk easily splits in heat. As you can see, all that fatty fish omega-3 has got into the curry. And you're done. You can switch off the heat and get ready to eat. Okay, so you can eat this like a soup if you want. Now this is not the Sri Lankan way of having it because we don't usually have the curry as a soup. But for me, this curry is so nice and silky and smooth, as you can see, especially because we have used fresh coconut milk. It's so smooth and silky and nice. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that fatty bit from the head and the fish. have made a typical wing bean malung. Malung is very famous in Sri Lanka. So we have rice, we have a little mango curry all the way from Sri Lanka. And I also have little wedges of lime because I have added mango and brindleberry as a sour agent. But if you want that extra kick of tang, you can add a drop of lime while it's hot. So let's take a little bit of that fish and that soup or the curry. Oh gosh, it's so good. Oh my god, you guys, I'm not kidding. This is definitely one of those food that will make you feel good no matter what, you know? So good. The fattiness of that fish and the mustard and that sour agents and the spices and the cinnamon. So I'm gonna add a little lime to my next bite. Fish head curry. Oh yeah, so good. Definitely add lime at the end. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, it's so good, you guys. It's one of those dishes that fulfills your soul. Oh my gosh. Please give this recipe a try. You're not gonna regret it. And if you haven't been following me on my Instagram, you should, because you can get to know more about me over there, because I'm active every day over there. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and show some support and share this with someone who really likes fish head curry. Look at that. Beautiful. It's so good, you guys. It's so good. It's just so fulfilling and really delicious.